into the territory that they like to play, anything can really happen.
So here we go then. Bans already coming out for this one. Twisted Fate and Renekton banned out by EG on the other side. Aiming at Froggen without a doubt. Anivia and Lux. Kassadin banned out there as well at the end by EG.
So many targeted bans here. 2 already being tossed over towards Froggen's side. 1 already on Wicked and Darien, since they both been playing that Renekton in the top lane very well. And we do have, wow, actually Vi being first picked. And we saw Snoopy on him earlier when they were playing against the Wolves. Did a pretty damn good job at it.
So that Vi in there was an easy choice by the looks of things for Evil Geniuses, and Gambit saying, well, Shen is still open. What about Shen? Shall we take him? Proved time and time again to the point of boredom almost that he can split push like a beast. There is the Thresh. Obviously wasn't banned out. We've seen Edward play it earlier on in the day, and it's going to be locked in. Thresh again here for Gambit.
You know, to me though, with EG picking up Vi as their first pick, it kind of it's not something that they would do on purpose. Like, for instance, like forgetting about, oh, Thresh, we could have picked him kind of thing. It seems like they wanted to let Thresh through and let Edward play him because they want to run some sort of counter for that. And we, Crepo, we saw against Tarek, he's playing Alistair, which is the first time we've seen him in Europe. He's been quite popular in North America. We might see that yet again, but I am really excited to see Edward's Thresh, I have to say.
Well, the fact that, there's the likes of Rise still in there, which we've seen Alex playing brilliantly over the last couple of months. Not even touched there in the bans, rather going for Twisted Fate and Kassadin, which also tells me that Froggen said, let him have Rise. Let him have Rise. I'm going to have fun with that one. As we are seeing Draven right now being hovered over by EG. Of course, he was a terror in the early game in the last matchup we saw for Dragonborns. Question is, how much has Yellow Pete been playing Draven?
Have we ever seen him on Draven? I can't think of a game that he's actually played him, so maybe he's been secretly practicing this champion just to break it out right here. And matching up with Tarek, which we saw as well for Dragonborns. Even though the Tarek wasn't in the lane, it's a real strong combo to lock them down, hit them with axes, shred that armor away. And that bot lane of Gambit's going to have a tough time. But what are they going to pick up here? I mean, you mentioned Rise. That could always be that possibility. A nice tanky AP champion. And as well, we always could have that AD carry come out for Genja.
Yep, let's have a look. Obviously, we do have the Thresh in there. We've been hearing talks about him not just being played as the support, so I guess technically he could go around the map, but the fact is, we saw Edward playing an amazing Thresh earlier on in the day as Alex just cycling through the champions here, most of which will definitely be off the cards, but the one that he lands on is definitely planned here for Gambit. I think this is more of a time waster than anything else. Well, they certainly have something in mind for this one. Obviously, Genja up for the pick as well. And there is Fiddle. I'm not even going to say anything.
I was going to say, because he played Zed not too long. Actually, I believe that was earlier today, and did actually an amazing job with them. And actually, going back to the roots, going for some Kog'Maw action. It looks like he might be running that Ghost Cleanse yet again. And then we're going to see Diamond most likely in the jungle with his patented Xin Zhao. I mean, that's one of his go-to champions now if it's not Lisa anymore. But then again, he was kind of balanced around a little bit. I'm just saying nerf because no one liked Lisa and how strong he was, except the people playing him.
Except everyone that played against Demon in lane and terrorized him for weeks on end. Poor guy. So that's the 4 picks coming out for Gambit. What are EG going to finish off with here? We've got Vi, who, well, it's anyone's guess where that Vi's going here. The jungle in that middle lane. We've obviously got Draven Taric here locked in. What are we going to see of these final 2 picks, Jason?
Well, the whole composition of having Vi, she wants to go into the backside of the team, wants to get into that back line, and you need someone to follow up with that. A Kha'Zix would be perfect. We saw Dragonborns running that. You just have to hop in and just pretty much blow them up as best as you can. You have Draven for that long-range AoE damage. But, okay, so if they actually go with that Nilly, it's a little bit odd because, we saw this combo used last time. I believe that, actually, who was that playing? Was it Dragonborns, where it just didn't seem to fit their whole combo?
Wicked Irelia. When was the last time we said that? I can't even remember. Back in 2004, the last time someone didn't ban it out against him back in the days. And he just gave up on it. I think he's like, I'm just not even going to play Irelia anymore because just not allowed to. But yeah, Wicked, that was always his champion. It was an automatic ban against CLG back in the day, against SK back in the day. I can even see when Wicked obviously was in the top lane there. There is a Xerath. We've been seeing him being played in North America. Is Alex going to go for it here today?
Wouldn't be a bad possibility. A really nice long range with the Kog'Maw. If you have Edward land that Q, you can lock someone down long enough that, well, as they say that, Alex could land this stun and then his full combo and blow someone up. But he's going for the Kha'Zix instead, so a very interesting mid lane. And I'm really curious to see how it works out in the end, because he played against a Zed. Was it earlier today? I can't Yeah, it was earlier today. There we go. Wow, it's been such a long day. We played against him earlier today and had a tough time against the Kazakhs, but we'll see how well he does on this other champion. And Joe, you always ask me this, and I still love to ask you it a lot. Looking at the comps, who do you really favor?
They're two very different comps. I'm not sure how Yellow Pete's going to be on Draven. Obviously, if he's picked him in a game of this caliber, he is definitely ready to bring that Draven to the table at this point. Kog'Maw, we've seen it time and time again that early game, if he doesn't really get into the swing, you can drag that game out. And if there's ever a team to drag a game out against, it's probably going to be EG, because them themselves can't really finish those games off. That's just how they are. You've got that Thresh in there as the support, which is he's going to have to do a lot of protection work in this early game, because Draven, Taric combo, they're so strong in that early game. Yeah, it's
really going to hurt early on. If they can land that stun on a Genja, they can do a lot of damage to him. Not to mention, Kog'Maw just as a champion doesn't really pick up till level 6, but if you're going to have any kind of late game AD carry, as we saw in TSM versus Vulcan, Kog'Maw is the one you kind of want to go for. Since it's long enough, we can talk about where TSM turned the game around after Vulcan had a huge lead just based off of Chaos right there. But as we are finally loading into the game, I'm trying to think if we might see any level 1 action. I mean, we do have the stun out of Taric, but EG on the blue side, they're not really typically one of those teams to be aggressive early on.
Yeah, and we heard from Crepo about this, that they like to study level 1s from both sides of the map, from the blue side, from the purple, red side. They're going to be ready for this one. One thing that we've seen time and time again from Crepo is an early pink ward right at the start and clearing out as much as he possibly can at those early stages of things. But this time around, actually not going to be going for that.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be surprised. Well, okay, so over on Gambit side, over on the red team, we'll talk about this real quick. We've seen so many teams just going for that line of scrimmage setup where they just put someone in the top tri-bush, protect the Wraith camp, make sure that EG doesn't really ward it, and then protect the blue as well. EG actually, I made a mistake earlier. They actually have been very aggressive on the blue side in invading. They've been putting an aggressive ward down by Wraith just to catch them, maybe steal it away, maybe even go for an early kill. And it looks like Gambit is actually preparing for that, since they have pretty much all 5 members at this spot. But no one with a ward at this moment is really there to help. But we do have Crepo coming in from the bottom. He warded his own red, so this gives me a sign of they want to be aggressive, they want to invade.
Yeah, that ward out there in the tri-bush. What are Gambit going to do here? Tense early moments. We know how important these early games can be as Diamond going to back away. Wicked's going to go straight in there. They get the taunt down. This is first blood coming in. It's Thresh that picks it up. Edward getting the dream start here for Gambit.
That was such a well-played bait by Gambit right there. Diamond just showed himself like he's going to protect his own jungle. Ends up walking away and baiting EG into his team. So well played, and Edward taking that first blood. I mean, that's what he does. He loves taking all those kills.
And Wicked before this one was like, Aurelia, face check, dead. Aww.
He channeled his inner double lift a little bit right there.
He's going to have a problem now because, there's a kill on Thresh. Everyone else has got a nice little assist coming in there. That's allowed Darian actually to go back and pick himself up. That health pot, which we saw him start. Caused some real problems in that matchup. Doran Shield, as we say, going to give him a lot more stability in that bottom lane. We'll see, though, what Yellow Pete can do. And Darian knows that he can't get caught out of position, especially with that Taric in there to offer that stun up. But, Jason, with these 2v1 lanes, of course, we have Taric Draven versus Shen. As I'm just going to forget that here. So Yellow Pete actually going head-to-head with Darian. We are going to see the flash coming down. Have they got the damage? Ignite goes in there. Yellow Pete going to get that last auto attack off. Can they finish it off here? Not quite. One more tick needed. The pot saving him.
And the red pot synergizing so well with this passive. When that axe hits you, you get the extra damage over time from it. And then also the red buff stack on top of that. It forced Darian out. He still has that flash available, but that gives him such a nice little bit of advantage in their own lane. And while we saw Yellow Pete actually going head-to-head against him, Crepo visited the blue buff of Gambit. So it looks like they want to control that, really deny it away from Alex each. So when he gets that tier, he won't be able to spam as much and be able to stack it up as quickly. But in the meantime, we do have Diamond heading up towards this top side. And we might see that patented 3-minute, 30-second 3-man gank on top lane.
obvious three-man gang that you are referring to there.
Yeah,
that we see
one.
time and time again here. Thresh and Cogmore closing in, but look at this. Vi headed up. Diamond going to go now in. There's a Vault Breaker in towards that Tribush. What can they do with it? Lantern put down for safety. Diamond continues in. The hook going to miss there onto Snoopy, but Diamond's got the red buff on. He may be able to do this here. Snoopy trying his best to get away. Where's the knock-up? There's the dash-in flash over, but Diamond is going to get the better of Snoopy, and he waited just outside of that Tribush. Snoopy was the first in there, and what a move again from Gambit.
And Diamond actually does that quite a bit, and that might be like the new thing to do if you're trying to gank.
Oh, this is really, really bad for Wicked again. He's going to get pressured by all three of them. He flashes. The knock-up actually was in effect there. Can he get away? Cogmore goes in. Wicked going to survive.
Oh, it's like I was trying to say. That's kind of the new thing. He's done that before. He's waited outside that Tribush before he can be seen at all, and then he just goes in and ganks and stops that counter gank that the other team ends up going for. While all that was happening, though, at the bottom lane, we had EG being very aggressive against Darren, pushed him out of lane yet again. And they're just trying to punish him as much as possible, but unfortunately for them, their top lane is just getting destroyed at this point.
Oh, look at this. Gambit going to go in. They know that Snoopy's there, and in the end they decide, right then, guys, let's not go for this one. We've pretty much had enough of this. We are going to see them recalling, and there is Edward gone. Genji going to follow suit, and they've taken about half of the HP. Similar kind of total to which EG have managed to do in this bottom lane. You can already see the early items coming out there. Cogmore with that Avarice Blade.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that's been developing over, well, today. I mean, it hasn't really had much time, but we've seen a lot more people picking that up early on, just get that extra gold increase versus the seal. And Joe, taking a look at what's going to happen in the future, I think around 7 minutes, 20 seconds is when the real action is going to break out, because EG is, like I was mentioning before, they timed that blue. They really want to take control of it, deny it away from Alex, and it's up to kind of Gambit to respond to that. We saw EG do it against SK last time they met, and they just denied Onslaught pretty much every single blue buff, and from that, they really couldn't siege it all, but we'll see how that works out for them in this game.
And one thing that EG are doing really well here is Draven continue to farm throughout that entire encounter in the top lane. And obviously Genji, while they were putting that pressure on, was not getting any CS, so leaves him 10 CS behind here already. They're now back into lane, which is going to help out Edward with the hook, not quite connecting in there on that one, but we can see that we are having Diamond again visiting this top lane. Wicked's going to have to be a little bit careful. He's got no flash, does have an ignite. Here we go then. Diamond going to go out onto him. When's the knock-up coming in? Where is the hook from Edward? The stun did go down. Hook will miss from Edward, and Wicked should be safe for now.
It's a little bit surprised they didn't try to go for a lantern gank or something like that right there, which is just, it always catches you off guard. But Wicked, he has no flash, so he's trying to punish him. And Diamond sticking around yet again, and this is something we saw in Season 2. Camp Wicked, kill him, and then pretty much take the game from that. He's already down, well, quite a bit CS towards his counterpart, who's having a tough time down towards his bottom lane. But Gambit, they're looking very solid, like the team that we know them to be.
Yeah, they are playing very, very aggressive with this one. Snoopy is on that top side of the jungle here. Might be called up to help Wicked out here in the near future, as Genja just having a little bit of a poke back and forth. Diamond is still waiting here. Super patient play. Obviously denying him farm in the jungle right now, but he doesn't care. He wants to get in here. They want to get Wicked out of this game. Shen already got double the CS of Irelia, as Wicked still sticks around. Diamond still not being able to get in. Lantern is going to get put down here. Is this going to be something fancy? Hook's going to land. Here we go. Game on. Wicked in trouble. Slow comes down from Cogmore. Where's the knock-up from Diamond? He is in so much danger, as Genja will finish off 3-0 Gambit.
And that camping that Diamond just did completely paid off, quite a bit. Getting another kill on Wicked, making them 0-2. It was getting a little iffy that if he stayed a little bit longer, there was the threat of their blue buff being taken away. But EG kind of not going for that. Wicked now having a very tough time, still down to 7 CS about 8 minutes into the game. And
oh my God,
he's going in for Snoopy this time, who doesn't have that flash available. All he has that Vault Breaker to get away.
But let's see if he can actually get away from it here. He's actually going to be backing off there. They have no vision of Diamond whatsoever. And we see as Edward heads south, Snoopy's like, well, I'm not even going to get involved in this one. Actually, he's coming back in now, Snoopy, as Edward will come out from that Tribush. That should be enough of a sign that he is actually going to be in here. Here we go. We are going to see them engaging once again. Cogmore getting in. He's going to tank the turret up as Wicked focus down. But Snoopy is very low. He's going to die here from the ignite. It's Edward that picks up another kill. He's now 2-0-2. Nidalee coming in from the side, but with just those spears, can't do too much to them. Edward managing to dodge away again, and that will be Gambit going 4-0 up, and look at that gold lead already after 8.5 minutes, Jason.
And this is why you don't give Edward that thresh. I mean, he's been so crucial in this game so far. All those hooks he's been landing, he's been creating all these kill opportunities. And, I mean, they still have a Shen who's level 6, so if they were going to completely dive into that turret, they had the shield from him, obviously wouldn't be able to appear there since he would most likely get stunned. As long as Darren just keeps farming up at this bot lane, and we see Gambit... Oh, it's actually being dead on his own tower.
Oh, and he's got no chance to escape that one. They're getting stunned up by Crepo right under it. Ultimate comes out of Yellow Pete. First kill on the board for EG. And, well... it ends up going, in the end, to the support.
Well, if you're going to get a kill, obviously it should go there. But, you know, this is also now a critical point in the game. Is Shen going to be split pushing by himself in that top lane to kind of get some farm and then ulti in when they want to fight? Or are we going to see Gambit, you know, try to be aggressive at this top lane, push him up? And we still have Dragon available, which Gambit, you know, last time they met against EG, they had that extremely early Dragon, that 3-minute Dragon with Diamond flashing over the wall in that Udyr. Haven't really gone for that this time, but... it looks like we will see the lane switch. So Shen, yeah, heading up towards this top lane. We will see Genja and Edward head down towards the bottom.
Diamond been so instrumental so far with his presence in this top lane, and you know what, it's not even hurt his farm in the jungle either. I mean, look at it, he's just a couple of creeps behind Snoopy there. I'm going to be taking that red buff. He's already up to level 6 now. Snoopy still sat at level 5. Let's have a look at the items. BF Sword for both AD carries, Vamp Scepter and the Avarice Blade, the two differences there, as Darian going to take a little bit of damage here from Wicked, but with that Ruby Crystal and the Doran shield in there, he is still tankier than Wicked right now, so Wicked needs to be a little bit careful of this one. We've seen that Darian can be extremely fearless, but with that amount of minions, he's not going to be going in.
And you mentioned, actually, we see Alex getting caught, but with that leap, should be able to escape. And you mentioned, you know, Diamond sticking around on that top lane doesn't really affect him too much. The thing is, he's feeding, I mean, yeah, he's not behind a farm, he's still ahead in gold, but he's also feeding a Kog'Maw. And you don't want to get a fed Kog'Maw. Well, I mean, if you do, if you're on his team, but if you're against him, you don't want to get Kog'Maw fed, or his you know, window where he becomes very powerful just kind of closes up and becomes a lot earlier in the game.
Looks like EG maybe thinking about Dragon here, because they have 4 men down. Irelia will be joining in the party, as well as a spear comes flashing across. Will actually land onto Diamond, who instantly pops those health potions, but Dragon is going to be started now by Evil Geniuses, down to around about half HP. Can Gambit get in to stop this one from happening? They don't really have vision. Edward did start to come around and actually decides in the end, I'm not going to go for it, but he is going to get ulted down by Snoopy. Here comes the ultimate from Shen. Box is put down by Edward. That's going to buy them off. And Gambit are going to engage in on this one. Wicked going to go down. Are they going to stop? Kog'Maw's going to join the fight. Yellow Pete, the focus. Is he going to get away? He's flashed it. He's going to be chased down here as the ultimate from Kog'Maw, giving the vision there. One more hit may just take him down. That one's dodged. Snoopy now all the damage as the Void Spikes come in. And Gambit, you know, they were caught out of position, but once they were confident about turning it around, they showed no fear.
That Shen taunt was just amazing. I've Darren caught 4 members of EG. And the thing was, EG invested 6 wards into getting that Dragon. They had 2 pinks and they had 4 green wards. It seems like a lot to invest. They kind of had to commit to Dragon at that point if you're going to put that many wards down. But still, Gambit playing amazing. And Alex, we haven't touched on too much. We haven't even looked at his lane, really. He does so much damage at this point with that Brutalizer, with that tier. I mean, you saw how hard he hit Snoopy. You saw how hard, actually, you'll see how hard he hits Froggen at this point.
Yeah, looking very good for him right now. Got around about a 10 CS lead, Brutalizer and that tier in there. Froggen, on the other hand, tier with the needlessly large rod. Other big items, the Giant's Belt coming out for Vi, currently 0-2-0. Wicked, who's not been the best return to Irelia so far. I mean, he kind of fell into your ways. He got Irelia, and they camped him again in the top lane.
And well, we saw Kevin earlier in I believe it was the second game of the day, playing an amazing Irelia. Just fortunately, Wicked just isn't able to get in that groove. He's been denied quite a bit of farm, but then again, if you leave an Irelia alone, if he catches up in farm, he can be very deadly. He's really annoying to go against because he can get in there quickly, he can stun you, and just have that, we can't be locked down because of that tenacity from his passive.
Well, we saw how effective Irelia still can be with Kevin earlier on today. Obviously in a somewhat different setup, albeit, but we'll see if Wicked can reach that kind of level here in this game as those spears coming through from Froggen. What else do we have built up here? Chain Vest actually for Shen, so shouldn't really have too much of a torrid time against Irelia in this top lane. And Genja still doing a good job of avoiding every single spear that Froggen can throw his way. He's now got himself back up level in CS with Alex Ich. In the top lane, still Shen has double the CS over Irelia, 70-34. AD carries lead for Yellow Pete, 103-86.
And going back to items a little bit too, we talked about Genja getting the average played early on and how it kind of seems to be a new thing to do since he does, in fact, go for that static shift a little bit later, but he's already stacked up about 280 gold on it at this point. I mean, that just shows how beneficial it is to really get. We do have EG going for a 3-man push on this mid-turret, but they might get caught.
Alex coming in from the side. Stun will go down onto Alex, but Diamond is going to be in there as well. Can he get in range? Not quite, but Alex has not finished yet. And the Void Spike's coming out, doing that extra chunk of damage. Spears coming over from the side, but they not going to connect with their target. And Gambit stop EG from taking that turret.
Yeah, the Nidalee heals paired up with the Taric heals. I mean, any harass you're going to do, you can heal them right back up instantly, not to mention Froggen has that blue buff, but Darien just doing what Darien does best. He just pushes the lane by himself. As long as he doesn't get caught here, it really applies a lot of pressure, forces Wicked to stay there, and we have Snoopy coming for a gank on him, though.
Yeah, Snoopy coming in. Krepo going to join in the party as well. Darien actually going to go over the wall, and he gets over just as the Assault and Battery lands. Froggen now coming in from that side. Darien does have the flash, and he will flash away, but the spear comes through. Froggen going to pick up the kill.
And right as they say, Darien doing what he does best, showing it right there, getting picked off, unfortunately. Gambit wasn't able to make a play out of that. But wow, and that ultimate out of Vi, he got separated by that wall. I don't know if that was on purpose out of Darien or if it was just luck, but I'm assuming if you ask him.
Both.
Yeah, I'm assuming if you're going to ask him, he's going to say, yeah, I totally planned for that to happen.
There's more spears, which as we've seen now, are starting to sting a little bit from Froggen. But that CS lead has gone back in favour of Alex Ich, we should mention. He's got his Merc Treads now finished. Diamond headed up onto that top side, just keeping his path going through that jungle. As we see Bloodthirster as well, and the Berserker Greaves there, picked up by Yellow Pete. So nice spike of damage he's going to have covered out of this one. And what is the next move? Dragon coming up in 1 minute and 36 seconds. Saw a good amount of action around there last time, and I'm not sure that Gambit are going to be quite so willing to give it away so free this time around.
Yeah, I think they feel very confident to go in a head-to-head fight against EG. I mean, because you have a Nidalee. I mean, as long as you don't get poked, as long as you can dodge the spears, you can be completely fine, and that kind of leads into late game as well. I mean, who's going to follow Snoopy in? That's kind of a problem, because you don't have anyone to jump in with them to get into that back line. All you have is Rayleigh, who doesn't do that much damage at this point. Taking a look at Wicked's items, he has Ninja Tabi boots, and he has a longsword. 16 minutes in, as he finally upgrades it to a Phage.
Yeah, there's the Phage in, but look over, to Darien, on the other hand. 3,700, 3,400 gold, so it's not that big of a difference overall there, but in terms of items, that Giant's Belt, the Ruby Crystal, the Chain Vest all in there as well. That's what we're really giving them the edge coming forward, as we are going to see Diamond trying to protect this outer turret in the middle lane. And this is good timing from EG to keep that middle lane pushed up as long as they can while they group, and then back away to that Dragon.
Yeah, we'll be up in 30 seconds. Really good play on their part. If they could take that turret, it'd be even better. But at this point, you don't really want to go into a head-on-head fight against Gambit unless you land that crucial spear, which Froggen, I mean, he has a death cap already. His spears are going to hurt. It's just how it's going to be. If you can land one, I was trying to show you right there why you have to be pretty scared of that. But Dragon up in 14 seconds. And Joe, I think we might see a fight here. We do have Darien pushing that top lane, so EG has to respond in some way, whether they go for that Dragon, commit to a fight, or back off and defend that top turret.
Perfectly timed once again by Gambit Gaming, as Froggen actually coming in here. Genja going to be left alone on that middle outer turret, trying to defend that one. As we do see the spear landing onto him, half of his health there or thereabouts, taking away the pink wards down from Evil Geniuses, and they are going to be going in once again for this Dragon. The question is, can Gambit this time around stop that from falling away from them as the spear comes in? Here comes Stand United, Dragon down to half HP, they disengage from it, ulti comes out of Diamond Procs, first kill coming down for Snoopy, Krepo going low in this one. It's Darien that picks up the kill as they dive in on towards Wicked, he is falling quickly, Yellow Pete might get caught out here as well. Darien Darian chasing down in the end. The spear actually will do a lot of damage. That's going to force Gambit away, but of course the dragon wasn't taken in that whole ruckus, and that is now being started off. Snoopy is going to vault breaker straight to the wall as the spear will land. Here comes Snoopy around the side, gets the steal, flashes away. Great move from Snoopy.
And I am surprised Gambit let that happen. They should have at least expected him to be there. I guess they didn't really expect his flash to be up, but in that last fight, we saw Alex be kind of the sacrificial lamb. He jumped right into that dragon pit, and during that entire fight, Genja was not touched, except that last spear, obviously, at the end. And EG needs some sort of response to that. That Vi ultimate is supposed to be meant for him, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to get there into that back line, and he ended up, well, getting away. But, you know, Alex, I don't think he'll care about dying at this point, because now you have a Kog'Maw who's 2-0-3, and he's about to have that Infinity's Edge done.
Yep, getting up to a very solid point in the game. 132 to 145 CS, so that lead's still there for Yellow Pete, albeit not much of one at this point. He obviously earlier did finish that Bloodthirster, got a pickaxe in there as well. As Edward quite happily just holding this middle area there. Lantern down in the middle of the lane.
And Diamond's kind of deviating from his normal ability. He usually goes for that Locket of the Iron Solari as one of his first items, but this time he's going for the Aegis. Most likely, I'm just going to say he's going to upgrade into that Runic Bulwark to help with that extra magic resist, so if they do get poked... Oh! Crepo almost getting caught right there, but so if they do get poked, he'll minimize the damage as much as possible, and then obviously some magic damage out of Crepo.
Well, this turret's very low, and one thing that EG have certainly got going for them are those spears flashing across there as Kog'Maw loses a third of his health, but Gambit still hold on to that turret. Well, there's a 5-man push from EG coming in here. This could be dangerous stuff. Edward just getting out of the range there. That one smite from Snoopy onto that siege minion. Well, they push this lane up once again. The question is, will they be confident enough to fight them under the turret and get close enough to get those attacks off? Doesn't look that that'll be the case. And
they're kind of against time at this point, because you're leaving Darian alone to push that top lane. He's 50 CS ahead of Wicked. He already has a Sunfire Cape done. He is so damn tanky. And then you have a Kog'Maw who is a late game master. You can't really compete with that. You know, EG, if they're going to make a play, if they're going to try to win the game, they have to do it relatively soon, or Gambit's just going to get too strong for them to deal with.
As Wicked just clearing out with the ultimate. Darian will back off. Diamond Prox did come into that lane as well. He's going to be headed back to the top side of his jungle. Actually has full camps up on his side at the moment. Darian, well, he's just going to be doing a Shen.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that happen earlier today. It's just, you have to have some sort of counter to that. EG just doesn't have the aggression that they want to use, you know, to push that mid lane. That turret's been low for, I think, the last 5 minutes, and yet they haven't been able to get it yet because Darian's just been so aggressive towards that top side. Has the ultimate up now, so if Gambit does want to get in a fight, he will just appear out of nowhere saying, hey guys, and most likely taunt 4 of you again, because that's what really gave him that nice advantage at that earlier team fight.
Yeah, that was most definitely an important one. As Alex here is pushing this bottom lane as well. He's got a 2-level advantage over Yellow Pete, and he decides probably can't survive the burst that Alex is going to throw his way, and that will be turret number 2 for Gambit. Outer turrets in the top and the bottom lane taken for them. Actually, in the top lane, we've got Shen putting the pressure down here onto Wicked, keeping pushing through that lane, but Tariq is going to be coming in behind. Wicked here doing as much damage as he can to Darian, as we see the Shadow Dash over the wall, and what a flash away as well from Darian. That was just expertly done. Twice in a row now they've collapsed on him.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of acting like a Singe at this point. You have to do something about him. They keep sending members over to kill him, but they can't at this point anymore. They can't lock him down. I mean, that's the second time in a row, like you're saying, he used that flash to escape. He's just so hard to control at this point. We had Alex still pushing out that bottom lane. He's 238 CS, you know, 40 ahead of his counterpart Frog, and it's just not looking good at this moment for EG if Gambit keep on this road. We do have Dragon in about 3 or 4 minutes. I want to say that will be the next kind of big team fight happening, unless Gambit gets a little, well, I'm sorry to use your and Demon's word, but a little cheeky and kind of force something.
That's an English word, young man. You keep that off your tongue.
I don't think there's an American equivalent of that.
Crepo, anyway, moving into 22 minutes in the game. Pretty much the identical time that we saw him picking up an Oracle in that last game earlier today for EG as well. So staying true to his word that he said last week, that around about the 20-minute mark is really the point where an Oracle comes into its own and you want to be making plays. They've got one caster mini in there which gets one big auto attack off on the turret before it dies. But Gambit's still looking to put that pressure down with 1.5 minutes to go until Dragon. Again, it's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, because that top turret's been down, we've had Gambit invade the jungle of EG. So with that Oracle, he's able to gain control of his own jungle yet again. Edward hasn't picked up an Oracle. We do have them slightly going for a push on the mid lane, but it's just, well, the wave clear out of Yellow Pete's ultimate, which obviously won't be up this next time, is really keeping that turret healthy at this point. And Darien still just pushing the top lane. Oh, gosh.
Gotta love those spears. As casters, we've seen about 3 million Nidalee spears been thrown in the past, but every single one of them still makes us do.
Ooh. Oh, Alex, she might have gotten caught there, but just hits him with a nice void spike to keep Snoopy away and takes
can just jump away.
Yeah, exactly, and he takes a big chunk out of Snoopy at this point. He has a Warden's Mill, he has that Giant Spell, going for that Randuin's Omen as one of his first items. So to me, it looks like he's going to dive that backlane onto Genja and then just try to shut him out, put that attack speed reduction onto him, and hope that the rest of his team can pick off some kills before Genja's attack speed reduction clears up.
Well, EG looking to finally get this turret down. It's survived for probably far too long in their opinion, as Diamond is going to get hit. Genja is going to be coming in from behind. Darien is coming in from behind. They're a little bit disjointed at this point, but he completely dodges the ball breaker. Going to get the taunt down onto Froggen. He gets hooked in. That's a dead Froggen. Boxed down. Crepo will break through one wall, but he could get shut down here. Yellow Pete flashes away. Here comes Alex jumping in from the side. Gets a reset. Double kill Kha'Zix. He jumps in there again. Thresh secures the kill there. Edward expertly done as per usual, and Gambit back off and head towards Baron.
And EG didn't look like they kind of expected Darien to come in from that backside. He's been pushing that top lane this entire time, but he just, he bided his time, came in from the back. Edward with an amazing Q out of him was able to lock down Nidalee, who's just so slippery. And Wicked, I mean, I want to say he's going to have to try to go for a steal here, but it's not really going to happen. I mean, I've seen more amazing things happen before, but he backs off instead. And Gambit now with a giant lead, now Baron on top of that. And the kills they've acquired. I mean, they're sitting on almost 2,000 gold onto Kha'Zix, 2,000 gold onto Genja, 1,500 right now onto Thresh, even 1,500 on Darien, and 1,000 on Diamond. So they have so much money to spend, Joe, that when they come back and they start pushing down that mid lane, I don't think EG can poke them, but Wicked now getting caught.
Wow, he's have to flash away from that one. Cogmore 2 will reveal him there. As a spear comes through, lands onto Alex. He knows that he's going to be tracked down here by Frog and shouldn't have too much angst, to be honest, because he can just get away from this one. This could be a dangerous situation, though. Ward's going down into the blue buff, and you can see that Gambit not too worried. Darien actually over the other side, going to get backed up here by Genja. EG knowing they can't really fight. There's the blue buff.
That was not a manly scream.
You said it. Wasn't quite stolen away in the end. Michael Jackson joining us here in the studio for that little blue buff. But either way, Gambit still have the Baron, and I'm not sure that EG want to fight, but they've gone in for this one. Wicked goes in, backs away. Froggen and the rest of EG knocked away, but Darien's not done. Lands another brilliant taunt. Crepo going to go down to Shen as another kill comes in for Gambit. Crepo caught out of position once again, and Gambit showing that you can beat them once, a second time is not to happen.
Yeah, exactly. They just have so much. They've been playing just so perfectly this entire time. Diamond. Okay, I was like waiting for something to happen right there, but I mean, it all stemmed from Diamond in that early action. Actually, sorry, we have to start with level 1, where they got that early kill over to Wicked because they kind of baited them in. Such a great play out of Gambit overall and Diamond in particular. And then the gank in the top end, they really shut Wicked out. He's trying to still catch back up in terms of CS, but his counterpart is just so far ahead. Has a Warmogs, has a Sunfire Cape, has a Baron buff at this point. We do have a Dragon happening on the, Dragon happening as we do see Alex pick up a turret on the bot lane. They just don't care. I mean, they're split pushing 2-1 and just sending 2 on Dragon at this point.
This is going to be such a hard game for EG to turn around. Cogmore 2-0-7 now. He's on his way. He's on his way to becoming an unstoppable Cogmore, that's for sure. While still we have Bloodthirster, Brutalizer in there for Kha'Zix. We've seen him getting those resets and how deadly Alex has been up until now, and Gambit may even fight under the turret with how tanky Darien is, or they may just have the turret away. There's Edward swinging his chain around, waiting to grab someone in there and really start the party off once again. You can see the Void Spikes. Minion Wave. What Minion Wave?
Exactly. I mean, he has so much damage. He can completely kill that entire wave himself. And Joe, you're talking about in the pregame about DreamHack Summer. We've seen CLG come back from a game like, oh, we might see Snoopy get caught.
This is a big face check moment for Snoopy, and he is very, very dead here. He's going to put down as much damage as he can get, but when I'm talking about the feeding here on towards Genja, that's another one for him. Stun onto Alex. Can he follow up here? Can he get any more? He's actually taking a lot of damage. They're going to turn this one around here. Wicked dives in, but the rest of Gambit going to join the party. There's the jump over again from Alex. The hook comes in onto Wicked. The box goes down. Wicked dies again. It's Edward that picks up the kill. A double kill for Thresh. He is absolutely hammering them right now. The Thresh Prince is back once again as Gambit goes straight in onto the inhibitor turret. The inhibitor itself is going to fall, and the Russians are looking absolutely unstoppable.
And the Thresh Prince of Bel Air is here to stay. I mean, he's 5-0-11 at this point. He did it earlier against Meteor Makers, and it looks like Gambit will close this game out. What an amazing game just overall. It was so perfect out of Gambit. Not one mistake was made. Just giving up 3 kills in total. And Joe, that is the Gambit we've grown to know and love.
Yeah, Gambit Gaming getting their revenge for week 1.